All right, I want to talk today about an escape room game that I built with an MCP server for Claude Desktop. The idea was really just how to do it. How can we get some state saved? So you go into a room, you have to solve a puzzle that unlocks the door to the next room, etc. And I wanted to figure out how to run a game like that and then see if it was a fun idea or not. So I'll show you here. We have a tool or an MCP server. I called it Escape, and it has a series of tools that it can call and do things. And so let's go ahead and see how it looks. Start the escape game. You can type all kinds of things like that. Let's play the escape game, etc. And it's calling a tool here to get the game status. You can open this and see. Let's see what's in here. It gives, here's a description that we're going to see down here. And it says I've entered a room, and you can look around. There's a keypad that requires a number. So that's the hint. We need to find a number. And there's some things. So this is kind of like choose your own adventure. Let's say look on the bookshelf. Okay, that doesn't help. Look at the poster. Okay, so that looks like it could be a clue. What is 4 plus 4? We know that one's 8. So let's see if we can enter 8 on the keypad. This is kind of like a 1980s vintage text game plus plus. All right, so we made some progress. We got through the door, and we enter a new room called the Sphinx Chamber. And it has some information here. There's an intricate patterns, a small pedestal. So let's press the button. It's not the speediest, that's for sure. So this is the classic Sphinx riddle, and the answer is a person or a man. That's the most classic. All right, the floor gives out beneath us and we fall through a trap door and land on a cushion. But now we're in a file analysis room. There is an important spreadsheet for download. Would you like me to download this so we can analyze it? Yes, please download the file. All right, so this gives me a link here that I could click on, but it actually made a copy of it here in my downloads. I need to find the value in cell B2. Obviously not a hard puzzle. The value inside B2 is here, it's a 5. And so I found the value 5. Probably you could even spell that out and it would work. All right, that opens the door and we go to the next room, which is the final challenge. And this one is going to show us an image on a screen. And it's a little subtle here. You have to open this and look at it to see what this image is. I don't know how to get it to show in line. It feels like that's where it should be. I see a cat. All right, so that is the end of the game. We have managed to escape, and it gives you some idea of what's possible. You can download some files, you can show some images, you can have some other things going on. So now let me show you kind of how I got to this. And What I did in the beginning was I started out with GPTel because I've been using that a lot. And I gave it this sort of task. Let's create an escape room MCP server. I want some functions that save state, that can tell if certain puzzles have been solved and can advance the game. I started out really simple. So the first version of this was just 2 rooms, just to see if I could get it to work at all. And then I said make an MCP server using fast MCP, and that has a CLI to run it. You need that for installing it in Claude. And then I had it generate this package. So it kind of gave me this idea. This is the outline. These are the functions or the Python libraries, some tests and core components, and so on. So this was all generated and got me to this sort of outline of things to do. Now from here, I can't really show you how I advanced it because what I did was open Claude Code, which is a command line interface, and then I told it to follow this path and generate the package. And so let me show you what that looked like here. So it did make escape room MCP. And then in here there are a CLI.py. So this is where the actual server is run. There's a debug option. You can start the server, you can reset the server, you can check the status. This is all done at the command line. And all of this, for the most part, was generated. I did not type all of this stuff in. Then I think let's look at game state. This one's created this class to store the state, and it knows it's able to keep track of how many, what current room you're in, the number of puzzles, whether the game is complete, what the current puzzle is, and a variable for whether we read the poster or not. Again, all of this was generated by Claude Code in an iterative fashion. And then I added a 3rd room, and then I added a 4th room. So it keeps track of some state and has some functions that are helpful here. And then the puzzles, there's a puzzle class that contains some generic methods that you have to specialize. So you can, here's the math puzzle for room 1. You get the description. You can get poster content. So all of these are functions that get used for each puzzle. This is where we have the room descriptions. So there's one of these for each room, and so forth, the file room puzzle. And I actually did want to see where the download happens. Might have to go back and look at tools for that. And then here is the animal room with that, and then there's a puzzle manager that keeps track of all the information. And then the server has some additional functions and classes. Here's the MCP. So this is the get game status tool that checks where things are. Examine object. Has a bunch of conditional logic. I don't know if I would have tried to write it this way, but I have to admit this is easy to read. Bunch of information if you wanted to get details about the ceiling or the floor. It's pretty intricate. As it goes, this is a tool for solving the puzzle, getting a hint, resetting the game. Yeah, so this is what I thought would be interesting to look at. So here, when I download an Excel file, this MCP server is running locally. That's one of the reasons why this works. So it looks like it is actually just copying the Excel file from resources to my home directory. So it's not exactly downloading it like I thought. I'll have to figure that out another day. And then the image, it does get the image from resources images/animal, and that's how it's returning the image. And so it doesn't render it in line like it would for HTML, which I thought would be useful, but still pretty interesting that it works. And so the only thing I'm pretty happy with this overall. It's not the most straightforward thing to do. And so I've been considering, can we use a text file like this to describe each room and then have it automatically generate that so you could make new escape rooms by just the narrative text and have an MCP server for playing your game. All right, that's it for this kind of proof of concept idea. It was pretty fun getting Claude Code to generate it from my design, and definitely recommend trying that out on other things. Thanks. See you next.